Hi, my name is Paul Harris. I was on the documentary photography course from 1987 to 1989. When Paul Rees asked us to do these little video clips, I went back through some of the old prints from college, and was also thinking about, I think it was a time in the second year when we were working on our thesis projects. And I remember one of the stories I'd done was, or was in the process of doing, was published by a magazine. And I just remember getting very, very excited about that. And in fact, to this day, I still get excited about seeing work published in newspapers and magazines and different publications. No, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Newport. I think for me it was a revelation at the time. I'd come quite late to photography. I'd been a commercial printer for 6 years prior to the course, and I was just interested in, I think, using photography in a much greater depth and a much greater detail. And I do remember the interview process. I had, I think, quite a large portfolio, probably about an A2 size portfolio, which I was able to print myself given the job that I had. But it seemed to be almost irrelevant to the interview process. I think the tutors were more interested in finding out whether you had a passion for something that you wanted to communicate, and I think that was the essence, and probably still is the essence, of the course itself. I also remember there was a student on the interview panel, and I think the person I had in my panel was Simon Norfolk, and I remember him asking some very pointed questions and thoroughly enjoying the process, so thanks for that, Simon. I think from day one, the methodology of the course was absolutely brilliant. It's this idea of working for an entire month on one particular subject and just doing it again and again and again, and coming up with hopefully better and better images. I do remember the first contact sheet I brought in, and Clive Landon got out his venerable Chinograph and proceeded to plaster the entire contact sheet with the wonderful red Chinograph. I'm sure there are different methods used now, but it really gave you a sense of focus in what you were doing at the time. And I also remember the fact, this wonderful idea that all the tutors were actually working photographers. I don't know whether that was particularly common in the 1980s on different courses, but for me it was fantastic to actually see the work of the tutors on a week-by-week basis. And I particularly remember the first one I saw was Clive Landon's exhibition entitled Familiar British Wildlife. And in some ways it was quite shocking, and in some ways it's quite peaceful. It was a bizarre exhibition, but for me it just turned the whole idea of storytelling on its head, and it gave me huge inspiration. So thanks for that, Clive. But I think all the other tutors as well, they were all working on different projects, and it's this idea of being able to see their work, I think provided huge inspiration to a lot of students. So yeah, the course was fantastic for me, and the fact that I'm still a working photographer 20 years later has to be down to the course itself and what that instilled in me, and I think a lot of other photographers. I don't think it was that important that the students necessarily went on to being full-time photographers. It was this absolutely core idea of being passionate about something and communicating that to a wider world. So thank you, David, for setting the course up, and to the other tutors, Daniel Meadows, Clive Landon, Paul Rees, Sue Packer, and also the visiting tutors. We had, I think, Martin Parr on a couple of occasions, and Roger Hutchins, and Paul Seawright, and a number of other photographers. So yeah, great course, and I know it's evolved in different ways, but really hope that it carries on and inspires people, and gets people talking, and gets people out there and taking pictures. The still image clearly has huge power, I think, so long may it continue.